What's good, y'all? Creepy Cat Man Shonen, Weird Light Shonen, whatever you want to call me today. It's gonna be a really quick video because I do want to put out a series review, a much longer, more in detail video on Platinum End as a whole. But I kind of just want to get some of my thoughts out about that last episode because what the hell was that? I have no real complaints with that. I mean, we can get into kind of like what Nakaomi ended up doing, which is kind of cool, I think, because like, all right, let's just, all right, no structure, just to kind of like go off of like what I remember, because man, so we got the ending of the whole god selection process. We get a bit of a time skip into the future. You got Professor Yoneda talking with Tamari, and she has him as he has her as an assistant, and she's clueless to the whole situation. And I just know I like their dynamic. You can clearly see that what's being set up there is like a relationship over time, where he's like, no, yeah, I'm totally just gonna experiment. You're just my assistant, but like you can already see that Yoneda's kind of warming up to her, and it's perfect because she's like the materialistic one, probably the worst person for him to encounter, for him to keep by his side. But since he's like antisocial, it's kind of, I'm sorry, I'm like really gassy, but it's kind of like funny that they ended up together because it kind of seems like it's working out there, right? You have a clueless woman, and then when he's starting to ask her, just like, hey, you were really materialistic, she kind of just says like, well, it's because I was kind of poor. Now that I have this money, I'd rather save it. I have more of a thrill, basically, just saving my money. And that's pretty cool, right? We get like some character growth from her at the end, because it seemed like since she was introduced so late and she was such like a one-note character that I didn't even talk about her really like that. I didn't think that she was gonna get many or not many moments, because she got like a couple, but she did shoot at this man, but she kind of got a couple of moments, and she got some growth, which was cool. I liked what they were setting up. And then we got the wedding scene, even like the asking for Saki's parents' hands in marriage, or asking Saki's parents for her hand in marriage. We got that from Kakehashi. Got a little couples moment with them. Got to see them start their flower shop. Even got Nakaumi's brother at the end there, and then Minawikawa. I think that was his name. The friend of what's his name, Kanade Ryu, or Uryu. So, all of that, all these great cutesy endings, and then it's over. Everything just ceases to exist. Now, about that, I think you can kind of take it two ways, or a couple. You can take it many ways, actually, but the two ways that I've kind of split it up into was mainly that, first of all, the easiest thing is they made the wrong decision, right? Nakomi was the worst person to become God because he was suicidal from the beginning, yada, yada, yada. And, he just wasn't ready for it. It was to bestow the power of God to such a young boy who didn't really know the world. Although he seemed like he was taking it pretty well, right? Like in his God form, he's kind of just like analyzing the situation, realizes how much power he has. He doesn't seem like too overwhelmed, except for when he starts to see the amount of death and just how much despair is in the world. He's just like, God, I as God, I kind of feel compelled to help these people out. And the creature, the God behind him, is just like, so do it. Do whatever you want to do. You are God. Like, it doesn't seem like he's influencing him in the worst way, which is what I thought was going to happen last episode, where like the creature's going to be like, yeah, you're just my new host right now. Like, yeah, this was all a selection process, so I could just get a young, fresh body, and then I can live on even longer than before. But no, that's not the case. They were in the merging process, and man, I kind of feel for Ogaro when everything goes down, when Nakumi finally decides to kill himself, because she's just like, yo, I think I'm sure Ogaro was really sure that this wasn't gonna happen. Like, so long as she kept her eyes on Nakumi, it would have been okay. The merging process would have been completed, and then she wouldn't have had to worry about God anymore. But she knew that she had to keep an eye on this kid. Now, I just think, yeah, that's the one way of going about it. They made the wrong decision. But also the counter argument there is, well, the whole selection process was about people trying to commit suicide, or like the selected candidates were all people who were suicidal. So, you can kind of say, well, they all would have tried to kill themselves at the end anyway. But, you already got Kakehashi, who was happy. Potentially, he would have done it, right? Like, you split him up from his girl. He can't be with his girl, although he can probably just kill her, turn her into an angel. Like, it's very possible that could have just happened, right? And he could have had his girl with him by his side forever. But, maybe that's just not what they wanted. That was not the... I'm over here, like, trying to think about what these characters want. But, yeah, that's like the counter argument there. It's like, that was the whole selection process. Everyone was kind of, willing to do that. So why wouldn't they just end up doing that? But I just think, with Yoneda, potentially, could have been the same way. But the other option there, the other argument that I'm making here, this is really not structured whatsoever. But only because I really want to go, skim through everything again and make sure I got everything, my final views on it. I just want to give my first thoughts here, basically. And yeah, the second way to view it is that just Yoneda was wrong. His whole idea of just like the creature is, this being of genocide is just bullshit, because it doesn't seem like the god behind Nakaumi was like with it. He's just like, no, what are you doing? This is the wrong thing. And I even like went back and read the last chapter in the manga just to make sure, and he's just like, no, like what, like stop, like this is not the right way. So it wasn't like this was a whole thing created for that creature to be like, all right, now I'm gonna wipe out all of life on Earth. So that's the second way that I could view it. It's just like, or those are kind of like the 2 points that I can see there. The second way I can view it is like maybe Nakaumi was right. He should have. That's like the obvious, counter argument there. Is like Nakaumi was right. He should have killed life on Earth because there's always going to be despair. But then again, you also got God there behind him. Like, you can do whatever you want. If you choose to save all these people, you want to intervene in every single one of their lives, you can do it. So technically, he has the power to do it. Time moves slower in the God realm, or in heaven. Sorry, time moves slower in heaven. So he technically has all the capabilities to just do everything with the world. Now, why he didn't do it? I think it's just because Nakaumi was like edgelord. Like, it was just the wrong choice, right? I feel like someone like Yoneda, someone as smart as Yoneda, because he probably wouldn't want to help everyone anyway. But like someone with the intellect of Yoneda and with the willpower of Kakehashi would have been able to help everyone at all times. And it would be a perfect world. But I don't know, maybe that's like the moral of the story, is like you can't actually wipe out all of despair. To have happiness, you have to have some sadness or something like that. I don't know what the whole meaning is. I'm gonna get into that more next week. But as for like what we heard in the end there, just like all those voices of, or not even heard, you just kind of, I can't remember if we actually heard those voices or if it was just writings that were scribbled. But kind of heard some voices, you see this writing, it's just like all these like really negative comments. I think maybe that's just like, I don't know, man. So I think that could also be God. Like who else would that be, right? Is that like the voices of life itself, or like the disposed of bodies? Like, because God does reveal that, hey, I keep these bodies, I bring their souls up to heaven, and I kind of just keep them there. It doesn't say really if he reuses their souls or like discards them, or like how they're reused, but he's just like, I have an obligation. I created this life. I have to keep it here. So maybe he turns that into angels. Not too sure. Everyone becomes an angel when they die. But it's not really revealed there. And I also forgot, I'm realizing now, to read that part of the chapter to see what was going on there. But yeah, it just seems like the creature or God was not trying to have Nakaumi, do what he did. So to me, that registers as the wrong choice. As for what the right choice was, I think we're not supposed to know, right? Everyone kind of had their own thing going on there. Every single God candidate would have interpreted the whole merging process differently, would have had a different decision. But I feel like Nakaumi was the only one that would have been like, I'm ending it here. But I still think it's room to say that he and Yoneda are both wrong there. Not in doing what they did, but for the reason why, right? Because they were misled. Nakaumi thought, oh, I'm killing myself because I'm just going to get rid of heaven. He had no idea that what he was doing was wiping out all of life on Earth and not life in general, right? Because as we can see in the end there, the universe continues on. Life in the universe exists. Oh no, I'm on 20%. It's another reason why it's going to be a short one. But yeah, he wipes out just life on Earth. It doesn't seem like the whole universe is destroyed. As for what God told him, the whole, hey, actually I was created first, so I created humans, but I don't know what created me. I think that's really funny. Like that's like a little tease, like the whole Big Bang theory. What came before the Big Bang? You know, if God created God, who created? It's like it's a good way at Oba and Obata kind of like, I forget who the actual writer is, but you know, I just see them as a pair. I just see them as a team no matter what. But it's a good way to be like, yo, I'm gonna end it with a question. Clearly, the series was not supposed to give us the answers to what lies in heaven. It was just a nice way to be like, well, here's an interpretation. Because I like I said earlier on in the shows, I've never seen an anime, the Christian interpretation of God, or you know, maybe there's other ones, you can let me know, but I haven't seen that. So it's pretty cool as someone who's raised with that background to be like, oh, this is what people are like. The spin that Yonetta has there of just like God doesn't exist, it's a creature created, because technically it is created, but it wasn't created by humans. It's created by a different science, a different energy that we never got to understand, which is like, I guess the only way you can kind of do it, right? Because any origin story that you give to this God, it's kind of going to easily be not debunked, but just like it can be more easily criticized. Whereas with this interpretation, you kind of have, oh, so we never knew. We never had an idea. And the fact that it kind of ended in the rapture, right? Life, all of life just ceasing to exist. It's kind of funny because it's kind of, what I interpret that part is, and maybe this isn't the final interpretation. Again, first thoughts. I kind of interpret that part as just like, hey man, y'all question too much. Now I'm just getting rid of it, because clearly you're giving this power to a young boy. This is overwhelming for any human being, right? The belief is you can't understand it. There's no way for any human being to be given all this knowledge and to comprehend it. Nakumi as God, but still as a young boy who's not finished merging with God to understand everything that God is. Got overwhelmed and was just like, I don't like this. I don't like what I'm seeing here. I'm off in it. Now, again, the problem I have with that is that you don't really get his decision, like the meaning behind his decision, or like the thought process there. He brings in the angels, he brings in Nase, he's just like, yo, what are you? God tells him, like, Nase existed on Earth before anything. Nase was just a life form, which kind of reminds me of Attack on Titan's, the origin of, what's it called? Of organic life, right? The hallucinogenia, right? You have Nase there. She existed on Earth before any other life, so maybe Nase is supposed to be the angel of life, like existence itself. I don't know. It's also really weird that we get Nase to be like, to kind of break the fourth wall at the end and just look at us and be like, bye, or bye-bye. I didn't really like that part. That's like, of all the parts that like I didn't really like, I kind of didn't know how to interpret, or just like I wasn't too sure about. That was one part I was sure I did not like that. So as for what the hell she is, we don't know. I'm gonna get back to you with what I think is an answer next week. But man, just at first thought, all I can think of is just Nase influenced the god, and the god influenced Nase. I don't think her words, right after seeing the wedding between Kakehashi and Kakehashi and Saki, I don't think that's supposed to be like Nase's actually secretly evil, and her whole plan was like, oh, it's over. It's over now because I know God's going to kill himself. I know this whole existence is over. No, I think, you know, what she's just meaning right there is like, oh, good. Like they finally found happiness. I can stop watching them because I know that they're going to be happy no matter what now. So that's what she means by it's over. Because, I mean, unless her breaking the fourth wall there is like supposed to signify that, I have to really get back to it, because it's gonna be real spin-foily if I try to get into it now. So yeah, man, as for man, she's got the whole organic life thing. You can assume, I mean, you could kind of make the argument there that, you know, since she kind of merged with God, if her plan was to destroy all of existence, then she planned to do it after she made true happiness a thing, or after she witnessed true happiness for herself, which I'm shocked that she hasn't, right? She's like, she can affect other people, but this is the first time that she's affected. Like, maybe she's been waiting for her moment for God itself to, kind of die off. Maybe her merge with God, and when God was like, yo, or the first God was like, yo, I got to get this thing out of me. Like, she kind of merged with him, and he says, like, he spit her back out. Maybe that was the influence there. She influenced him, and since she was touched by God, she's able to touch, actual humans. Or maybe, since she has influence in God and God has influence in her, it's kind of like, oh, I kind of set this time bomb. I kind of was the reason why he started to die. It had nothing to do with people not believing anymore. It's just, I kind of like, over time have like nipped away at his life force. And so now that, I have this grand master plan, again, it's too convoluted for me, but I'm just trying to make sense of what that would be. But yeah, that's a real unlikely scenario for me. I might change my mind next week when I do the whole series review, but that's not looking likely for me. I think the ending that we got here is supposed to be very questioned. It's not supposed to be answered, right? Because you don't get answers. Like, you get actual words from God himself telling Nakagumi as the new God, here's how things work. Here's any context that you need from me. We're told that when the merging process is done, that, Ogado doesn't really, like, Ogado kind of tells us, like, wouldn't have to worry about anything. Maybe that's the worst case scenario of, that God basically going, I'm actually coming back into power. Maybe Nakagumi knew that and was like, before you can actually merge with me and continue to do whatever evil I think you're doing, because you're going to watch, if Nakagumi didn't like the idea of just being a God that watches and doesn't do anything, and felt that once the merging process was complete, he would then succumb to that and be like, actually, I'm just going to watch. I'm gonna just keep creating life. I'm not going to, do anything with it. Then maybe him killing himself and be like, life does not deserve to exist if this is what you're going to do with it. Maybe that was his actual slight against God himself, to be like, yo, I don't care if you created this life. Clearly life has existed without you before. It's not in this form. It's over for you. That would be pretty badass, because it's coming from Edgelord Nakagumi. I should be calling him Shuji, but I don't know. I don't know what the proper what's it called? The proper courtesy there is, the proper phrasing there. So I was gonna keep calling him God too. But yeah, I think it's an ending that's supposed to be questioned. It's not supposed to be interpreted as anything concrete, as for right now, as someone who's just, finished watching it type of thing. So I liked it a lot. It's like not getting, if you ever watch Death Note, which you probably should if you watched Platinum End. But, oh damn, I can see I'm looking up too much. I can see my bald spot. So, it's kind of like, at the ending of Death Note, we never got to see the Shinigami King. It feels like the same as that. Like, if you were someone who was watching it expecting to get that, like, Shinigami realm lore and you never got it to the end, then this ending of not getting all the answers kind of feels the same. But I feel like Death Note was also just so compelling with its own characters and it didn't really focus on the Shinigami King at all, that you didn't really need to care about it, right? You cared about the characters in that moment, what they were doing, whether or not Kira would win, whether or not L would win, Nier would win, who would win there, right? You don't really care about what's going on in the realm. This show was made to be like, kind of teasing it. Everyone's kind of being led astray. Oh, at the end, sort of at the end, we get this guy who's like, yo, have you ever actually wondered what happens in this process? And then we can start to get those teases. So, you get the, also like, it's about them actually becoming God. So, not like a god of the world, but like, God. So it makes sense for us to want to care about shit like that. Coming especially towards the end of the episode. All right, I'm rolling on 20 minutes now, so these are really my thoughts here. Just in conclusion, I say 20 minutes just to say, or I take 20 minutes just to say, I don't think we're supposed to know. I think that's the beauty of this ending. I like it. I have my gripes with the series, leading up to this, but getting this ending here, I appreciate it a lot. I really do. I think this was a really good ending. I might feel differently when I go back and reread the manga and see what was cut out, because I already start to catch a little bit of things that were cut out from the manga or from the anime, and I'm just like, this would have helped a lot. Like, you know, little bits of context would have helped a lot as an anime watcher. Maybe it's something that Crunchyroll mistranslated. You know, maybe their subtitles guy was just trash. Or not trash, but just like left out some things. Maybe, you know, it was just translation into the anime. Not too sure, but like I already feel like some of the manga stuff would have just helped out a little bit, because I was looking at some of the Crunchyroll comments, and you could see people already pissed off. Again, an ending like this, it's what it's supposed to make happen. So, yeah, first glance, I like it a lot. I really do. I like the just the not knowing and getting to interpret and getting to just like go back and see every character's, you know, last moments there, and how they kind of made sense of what was about to happen to them. It was really cool. So, yeah, my name is Weekly Shonen. I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, because this is coming out on Saturday. I will see you tomorrow for a really great Big 3 review. We got some hype. We got some hype to go over. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna figure this out, but I might just be screaming all the Sunday. Anyway, I'll see you Sunday. My name is, I already said that, so I won't say it again. So yeah, be safe.